Hello everybody, this is Billy KSP with our first episode of the KSP Solar Empire. Because screw the pilot episode, because point .9 beta came out, and the pilot episode was supposed to be in point .5 with all the glorious mods. Well, that's been scrapped because of the updates. So as of now, we're playing in vanilla. With no mods. Mods may be added at a future point in time, but that's to be seen. Now obviously we're playing in science mode. I have already tried done some mini run-throughs of about half an hour apiece, attempting to get little ways into the tech tree to see which one was feasible, if career mode, regular full-on career mode is feasible. It really isn't. I have tried, and the funding is just too tedious and too annoying to have to bother with. The lack of piloting, the pilots having to train them up is fun, but the funds and yeah, I mean obviously I can't go in this time around, but like the contracts are all testing parts at very specific places. That's the only way you get funds. It's really hard to start out. I've spent a little bit of time, mostly so we don't have to do the early, boring, wasting time getting this stuff. I got the first wave of tech researched. We haven't anything yet for these. We've only done a few missions. I haven't even been in here yet, so that shows you how much I've done. I haven't been to anywhere. I've gone absolutely nowhere. I've launched, I think, let me see, 3 rockets to get that tech up to pace. That's a weird visual glitch. Yeah, I've made exactly 1 ship. That's got me all the science I've needed so far to get to where we are. Now, you see, I still only have these 3, but we're gonna need more pilots. So, I'm gonna head and hire Dersey, Eden, and Bob Dubus, and Ted B, and Ted Rod, and Dude Long, and Harvey Kerman, because we are all going to need the pilots. So, this is going to be hopefully a very long series, lots of story, lots of adventure, lots of interesting stuff that can be drawn out. So, while I start building the rocket for our first mission, which has come in from the Kerbal Space Command here, is to begin putting up a reconnaissance satellite to the moon to begin surveying for potential landing sites for our first Munar mission. So while I get to that, I'll start constructing that rocket, and I will get back to you shortly.
Morning, you two. I assume you've both heard the news.
Yep, it's about damn time that the higher-ups and bureaucrats decided to actually give us the funding to get our first mission underway.
I just hope they keep the snacks flowing. That and the whole funny thing is great.
We've only got one concern: special intelligence.
Ugh, don't get me thinking about them.
As long as they let us maintain control over the program, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah, but special intelligence. They get their hands into everything.
Alright, so this is our first real rocket we're going to launch. I don't have high expectations of this. I don't actually know how far it's going to get us. The idea is hopefully to get into, at the minimum, a Kerbal orbit, and then using the upper stage, possibly do a slingshot to the moon and come straight back. Again, the purpose of this mission is simply to do visual reconnaissance of the moon, maybe plot out a good place to set down the first lunar mission, just do basic reconnaissance, gather some science we can utilize for actually going to the moon. And piloting this mission, of course, is the mighty Gemini Kerbal. Now, we overheard them talking just a minute ago. They're concerned about the Special Intelligence Service interfering with their missions. One of the new features of the Kerbal's Solar Empire is that the intelligence wing has been very overbearing, to say the least, on the space agencies. This is not the only. While this is Kerbal Space Command, the primary space agency. There's other subcontractors that provide, parts and equipment and stuff to the agency, not to the agency, to the command for them to utilize. But special intelligence has had a high level of scrutiny over all of them, so they're obviously concerned about special intelligence getting muddled in, because whenever a third party gets involved in your actions, it tends to just slow things down tremendously. So let's see. Actually, I don't remember how much science we've got. So can I do anything with the goose here? Not really worth it. How about a crew? Also not worth it. Alright. So we're just going to try to burn upwards. It's going to be a slow ascent, but the result should be a very low orbit that should hopefully save us on fuel. Hopefully. Probably not, honestly. This isn't the most efficient of rockets. I was trying to stack as much fuel on with these low tech leveled pieces. Which you never know. Maybe we'll actually complete our mission. Now this episode is going to be largely actually in-game voiceovers and stuff. Eventually, I'm going to focus, whenever I do these there's going to be less of this actual in-game, me talking over the game. This is going to be a rarity. Mostly it's going to be post-commentary, voiceovers, people talking in the background. There's going to be very little of me doing this kind of commentary style stuff. There's going to be a lot more of like story mode and. Are we going to break orbit? That is a very good question at this point. If we do, we're going to have a very easy orbit to circularize. Yeah, we're going to break orbit. Excellent. Actually, we won't be able to actually make it to Munar orbit with this. We'll have to do a few burning tricks, but we should be able to make it. Burn this a little bit longer. How far around is it? We should totally have an orbit. Yep, we're totally gonna make an orbit. Excellent. Slow down the burn. Last time, in my other campaign, during the test run, when I got my first actual orbital craft up, I accidentally jettisoned the second engine before I quick saved. So I'm gonna quick save now, because I don't accidentally do that. So now we're in space. There's stuff in mystery news. Not really. Damn, this shit. How about crew reports? No. How about an EVA? Actually, that's probably not the best thing to do while we're under. As remember I said we were going to quick save? It's a good thing we quick save because that, ladies and gentlemen, was a crash. And that's one thing that the KSP is notorious for, is crashing, which actually brings me to the point I was going to bring up right before I crashed. And that is the quick saving and reloading element that this game possesses. And its effects on, trying to make this campaign as hard as possible without actually having to worry about money. Obviously during construction, we can still see how much it would regularly cost. So we will factor that in. So if I'm not going to build over, 200 grand on this ship. We won't go over 200 grand because, it makes it interesting. But obviously I'm going to have to quick save and quick load, because in case it crashes like that. Because the last thing I want to do is do one of those things where I go out to the moon, come back, and then have a crash during re-entry and realize I didn't save it all during the entire mission and then lose everything, because that's no fun. And no one wants that. So yeah, this is totally interesting. Yeah, we're also going to probably be doing... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to be doing all that many reverted launches, thanks to the fact that it is science mode and there isn't a fun limit. That was one of the problems I had, because I spent like 2 months running tests to see if career mode was feasible. I was actually getting to a point where I was like, it's completely feasible, because once you in 0.25 for beta, once you landed on a planet or celestial body, you could get endless contracts to simply plant flags there, which is and then that would give you almost like 300 grand per flag. That's absurd, and it would get you tons of money. Acceleration. No, not. Shut up, game. And yeah, so once I got to that point, it became more of a matter of how lazy did I feel about going and continuously planting and replanting flags on the moon and Duna and Midness or wherever I happened to be at the time. And in all fairness, it was not a terribly challenging feat. Alright, so we have orbit, which is what we needed. Are we in high orbit so I can get new science? Nope. Alright, so here's how this maneuver works. Every time we go past we only burn a periapsis, and the result is we burn our apoapsis out gradually, and eventually we'll get a contact with the moon. That's going to take a while, so if it starts taking a long time, I might just skip forward to the point when we have our contact, because this mission is totally going to go to the moon. This is actually going to complete the original objective of the mission, which was to go and do reconnaissance at the moon. So, hooray for that. Just skip around. Yo! But yeah, one of the big things was concern about money. And when I started out, it was a challenge, to keep funds positive, because it was like, one minute you have 80 grand, and if you botch up the mission, all of a sudden you're down, over half your income. Which wouldn't be all that bad of a factor, except for the fact that a lot of the ships that were launching ended up costing over $1 million a piece. And that was just for the front states. Like the most recent ship I built before I upgraded, which canceled all the mods, which canceled the ship because the ship was all modded stuff effectively, was probably close to about 2 million, 2 or 3 million to put into space and fly around. That's expensive in KSP. The most funds I've ever had at one point in time was probably about 7 grand. That's only because I got lazy and because I kept launching missions that were 300 and 400 grand in the pop to help build my moon colony up. And the result was the economy never really got off the ground. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but the way the contracts are set up now, it's even less feasible due to the simple fact that that the missions are even less profitable, or not necessarily less profitable, but they're so much more demanding. Most of the old missions were just, reach a certain altitude, perform science, test apart at ground. Now it's like, test this piece at this place, and they're not easy tests to perform. It's like, launch a solid rocket booster while you are in orbit. Why on earth would you carry a solid rocket booster all the way up to orbit for the sake of maybe getting 13 grand? It doesn't economically make sense. The rocket to get the booster up is going to cost you more than you can get rewarded from. So it defeats the purpose of the economics. So, where in the previous campaign I had, millions upon millions of creds that I could go around spending on, these glorified rockets, that doesn't work anymore. So yeah, that's why we're doing science mode. If I figure out a way to better accomplish generating income, then I will totally switch this over to career mode, because there is a way to do that. I just go in and edit the save file, and I can switch it over to science, from science to career, and we'll have to deal with monies, which is, fun. I enjoyed having to deal with monies, and having to deal additionally with pilot XP is going to be really interesting. Like, I think that's incredibly interesting, but again, you can't get pick and choose what you get. You get whatever you can afford effectively. Now, as for mods, mostly we've been using part packs, the near future packs, for the additional parts and engines and solar panels, B9 aerospace. I tried using Heat Aqua Cheap, but it never worked. It just kept crashing and refusing to let me launch rockets, so I gave up on that. And a bunch of little things like the Kerbal timer, Kerbal alarm clock, chatter, which I already missed with littles. Yeah, that thing. That thing was glorious, and now it's gone because updates. That's the problem with having mods, is every time the game updates, it effectively removes all the mods until they update. And that's not such a bad thing, but if I have a recording deadline and I have to wait for mods to update, I can't do that. See, where are you about? Honestly, I say it's a third of the way out, but when you see how far we're going to start increasing on the next set of burns, you'll realize why I say we're a third of the way out. Actually, I could probably get science over high, like high over Kerbin at this point. Can I get science high over Kerbin? Please say yes. Thank you. And a crew report. Really? I've already got that? Okay, let's do an EVA. Please, no, why did they do this to me? EVA report. Very good. And let's get back on board. Yoink. Also, Kerbal attachment system. Very glorious thing. No! Get back on board, Jebediah. You must get back on board your shuttle. Despite the fact that this is the proxy pilot episode, I'm sitting here, complaining and out of character about how Jebediah is spinning out of control, trying to get into his craft. Now, if this was actual thing, there'd be voice actors going like, Jebediah, tracking system, something wrong. Oh god, he might actually not be able to get back inside because of the way the craft is. That would be incredibly awkward. Actually, no, let's... Oh, we can't even roll the craft because he's not on board. Ugh. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and transmit his crew report because we have electric charge and we have an engine to replenish that electric charge. Awesome. So let's draw more science to the project. But yeah, we may add in some more mods. So I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to once we have an orbit around the moon, and I will get back to you then. Alright, so as you can see, it only took actually 3 more burns. That's why I said it was a third of the way there, because we had 1 burn here, then 1 burn here, and then 1 burn out here. So as you can see, we're crossing the lunar plane now. The problem is the moon is way out there, so we'll have to, you know, time accelerate to the point that we can actually catch the moon, which actually is probably going to be a while, unfortunately. And I mean, we have to wait for the moon to go the whole way around its orbit at this point. So, Jeb's already been up here for 2 days. Actually, you know, we might catch it on the next... Let's see, if it went from here to here... Let's try something, shall we? Let's... How much fuel do we still have? We still have over half a tank. We should probably set this as our target because, you know, that helps set us target. Alright, see how this is coming around, coming around. This is not the most efficient form of the burn because we're not the periapsis, but it'll do. And, ooh. Unintended consequences. What are we doing? We're gonna slingshot out into space. That's what we're gonna do. Alright. And I'm doing this completely without maneuver notes. So we're gonna come around to the moon, and then as intended, we're actually gonna fly past it, but we don't want to do that. And unfortunately, coming around on the side, that makes it go fast. Whoops. This is the part where I would normally be like, oh, we're gonna quick load and see what happens. But for the sake of the series, for the sake of, you know, cinematography, we're gonna come around behind on the fast side of the moon, unfortunately, and try to circularize an orbit. If we can't circularize an orbit at that point, I will quick save, and we will simply go around and return to Kerbal. And here we go, coming in for our Munar trajectory. We should be able to see it. There it is. Jeb is completely thrilled. He sees that his first true assignment is going to come to successful fruition at this point. Bear in mind, we're doing this with what I'm going to call first generation parts. Like, we're using just the first, like, 2 rungs of the tech tree. Like, actually, only the first rung, because yeah, we're really only using the first rung of the tech tree. What you think about it is kind of crazy. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Let's go ahead and quick save just in case something goes wrong. That's the sound of my headset saying I have low batteries. Now imagine if Jebediah had low batteries. He'd probably be dead. That's another thing we don't have right now is batteries. So yeah, Jeb, you better hope you have power. Come on, get close to that periapsis. And stop. And yet again, ladies and gentlemen, that is why we quick save, because yet another crash. This is only the first episode, we've already had 2 crashes. I don't know how long we've been recording for at this point. But I went to click on my headset power button and it was like, everything stopped working. So, yeah. Poor Jebediah. Jeb's missing. What? Jeb? Okay, it was... I guess you don't see him in map mode. That was freaked me out for a second there. I was like, we lost Jeb. How did we lose Jeb? Corrupt save file. Yeah, I had one of those instances where just all my stuff got deleted in the save file. That was fun. And let's see if we can circularize or if it's false hope. Coming around. We did it. Let's bring it down as low as possible. And cut the engines. And look at that, we still have a quarter of a tank of, not even a quarter, like a third of a tank of fuel. And look at that, we already have a lunar orbit. That's impressive. Let's get some science and then consider that our glorious. Very nice. And let's go ahead and get our crew report. And when we reach our apoapsis, which is, we can actually do it at our periapsis. We're going to lower our orbit, try to go for a low lunar orbit, get the last bit of science for that, and then return to the space center. And upon that, that would be the completion of this first successful mission for the Solar Empire. And bring it down to, let's say, about 80,000. 85,000, that works. I mean, look at that. We have enough fuel. We could actually probably land. Like, I actually have landing legs. We could totally have landed this ship. Planted our first flag in the first episode on the moon. But no, that was not our mission. Our mission was to go to the moon and perform surveys to prepare for our colonial landing. Not colonial landing, for the exploration missions. And these giant craters here, these look like prime targets for landing. They're probably very flat. These look like it could be flat as well, but there's a lot of craters. Last thing we want is to like end up on the edge of that thing and just die. It's only around the equator too, so this is probably the best one right around there. We have to look to the poles. The poles are kind of really waste of fuel. Right in there looks really flat as well. Oh, dude, this is gonna be the dark side of the moon. I can't see what's going on. That right there looks like it could be fairly flat, although I wouldn't count on it. Are we in low lunar orbit at this point? We are not in low lunar orbit. That is just too bad. Let's see if we can lower our periapsis without killing all our fuel. So we're just gonna quick save because, you know, game loves to crash. And there we go, 50,000. Alright. So, coming around the dark side of the moon. This is the first time anyone in the Kerbal Space Command has been around the dark side. We're about to lose communications with them, so Jeb is going to have the worst opportunity to do. Let's actually wait on the EV until after we've collected the goo science. Are we in low moon yet? No, we're not in low moon. Watch 50,000 not be considered low moon yet. Screw it, we're going to do our EVA. Because, oh crap. Jeb! You idiot! You've doomed us all. EVA report. Look at that. 16 more science. Let's almost get on board, Jeb. Go, Jeb, go! You can do it, Jeb. That's what the thing about the Kerbals. They are just like stunt doubles. They just want to go anywhere but inside where they came from. Grab it. No, Jeb. No. This is why we quick save before we send them out for EVA, because they don't. This is what happens. Come on, Jeb, you can do this. Nope, you can't do this. How did I do this before? Nope. Jebediah, you are an idiot for being the best pilot this thing has to offer, for being the best pilot Space Command has to offer. Note to self, Jeb was also one of the founders of the Kerbal Space Command. In fact, he was one of the people who signed the original treaty that formed it, and he can't even get on board his own spacecraft. This is pitiful, Jeb. Way to set an example for all the young Kerbals out there that want to, you know, go into space. Who's your inspiration? Jeb! What is he well known for? Not being able to get into the spacecraft. Good job, Jeb. Jeb the Klutz. I mean, I would expect this from Bob, but not, you know, from Jeb. Dear Lord, doesn't want to get inside. I don't think Jeb wants to get inside this craft. No, Jeb. Why would you do that? You had it. You had it, Jeb. You had it. I'm gonna give this... Oh, we're about halfway through our fuel. It doesn't work. Yeah, this is gonna want a quick save. I don't want a quick load. I don't want to, you know. There we go. I don't know how that worked, but okay. Welcome back on board. Alright, so now that you're on board, we can look at the moon. There's no defining craters on this side, it looks like. Also, we're so low that, like, we can't even, like, zoom around and look at the moon. Are we in low yet? There we go. Near the moon. Alright. So. Where is our burn node? So once we reach periapsis, we're going to want to burn back towards Space Command. Which just so happens to be on Kerbal. Why can I not? Uh-oh. We are running low on battery juice. Uh-oh. Jeb, what are you doing? Jeb, you're burning the wrong way. Jeb, you're burning the wrong way. You're burning the wrong way, Jeb. You need to burn prograde. Burn, Jeb. Burn. We're running out of fuel, Jeb. We are running out of fuel at this rate. Oh, dear Lord. Jeb, you've done goofed. We have no electric juice. I don't think this engine produces electricity. This thing produces no electricity. Jeb, you may be on a one-way trip to nowhere at this point. And I didn't quick save before we did this burn. Alright, we're bringing down the periapsis. That's what we need to do. 8 million. And now it's going back up. What are you doing, Jeb? $7 million, $6 million, $5 million, $4 million, $3 million, $2 million, $1 million. There we go. We have a return direct trajectory. Jeb pulled it off with barely any fuel left to spare. Hopefully this is enough fuel for him to, you know, survive. What do we? Electricity. We can't transfer. We can't get a clue from another moon. What is this current crew report? Yeah, we kind of need this. Alright, Jeb, back to the Space Center. Alright, so we're coming in high velocity here. And that is why speed mode sucks. Alright, so basically I just redid that entire stage. And now we're coming in for high-speed re-entry. We're about 3 kilometers now. We had actually a much better re-entry trajectory this time. We're coming in straight into the system. In fact, is that the KSP? That's the Space Center right there. We're gonna come back very close to the Space Center. Fortunately, we have no electric juice, so it's time to jettison this puppy. Turn off the SES. And let's just see where we land. We're probably gonna land very close to the Space Center. That's, you know, fast at flying, Jeb. I take back what I said earlier. You're not half bad at this. I mean, we're gonna overshoot probably by... Oh god, please don't overshoot by too much. Yeah, we're gonna land in the ocean, that's for sure. Bringing down perhaps is at breakneck speed. There's the old airbase that is providing protection for the Kerbal Space Command from, you know, potential terrorist attacks. You know, in this day and age of a single unified government on the planet Kerbal, you know, anarchist terrorists and, you know, nationalist terrorists are a great threat that we have to be concerned about. The last thing we need is, you know, some terrorists getting a hold of a ground-to-air missile and knocking out one of our spacecrafts while it's, you know, doing a mission like this. What is that? Explorer 1 debris. That's debris from the first ship. We're actually landing, well, not too far off from where, you know, the first craft landed. Yeah, we're gonna come in for our landing. Still going decently fast. Wait till about 6,000 and deploy the chute. Actually, let's wait till about 5,000. Let's have the coast. Here's the chute. And deploy. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, deploy! I've done that better myself. Excellent work, Jeb. You've made Space Command proud. On our first mission with the Space Command, we did exactly what we were told to do by Space Command. We went to the moon, we orbited the moon, we gathered the science, we did some reconnaissance to our first landing mission, which we can probably do with the amount of science we've recovered. Because, I mean, if we can do it with stock parts, with the parts we already have, loud, we can probably do it with our current state, with this new science we've uncovered. So how much science do we get from that? 100 science, that's 140 science. Very nice. Well done, Jen. So what should we get? We're definitely going to need these rockets for the landing stage. I could totally bomb rush these, because honestly this will make it a lot easier to land. But what we desperately will need are these power packs. We desperately need power packs, as well as more science capabilities. In light of that, I will go ahead and grab this, because we can always use struts. Struts are everyone's friend. But yeah. Advanced construction. Yep. That leaves us with 5 science and a successful mission to the moon. We've gathered our the intelligence we need in order to go and prepare for our landing on the moon. I've been Svet. I'll see you next time